Remember, this entire manga and every manga on this channel is hand-drawn by myself, and now you too can learn exactly how to make your own viral Dragon Ball mangas at www.makemanga.com, where you can learn directly from me. My mangas have got me on TV, on newspapers, and even earned me over $60,000 a month on Patreon alone. And now, you can click the link in the description and pinned comment of this video and do it yourself. You only need to see the website to see just how many thousands of you are taking this opportunity right now. And don't forget also, the next video to this Ultra Vegito series has already been made and is live now on my Patreon right now for over 4,500 of you incredible fans to watch after this. Again, links are in the pinned comment and description. Enjoy.
So you finally come, God Killer. So our story would continue with the riveting reveal of the Demon Emperor of Sector 2, with it being none other than a tall warrior named Kazuya Mishima, as wearing what seems like an expensive suit made of the most perfect of materials. Folding his arms, his entire body would be coated in a blue lightning, as his lone red eye would pierce through, watching as Vegito would stare back. What else did you expect? For me to give up and run? I won't stop until I've seen all of you so-called emperors. And I have to say, I'm pleased I can finally fight one adult-sized for a change. And looking much like a Saiyan too, I must say. Saiyan. I am nothing of the sort, young man. What I am is something you nor anyone has seen before. Answer me this. In all your travels, in all your blood-stained battles, have you come across the Devil Gene? Can't say I have, but also can't say I care. As almost completely unbothered by the cryptic words of Kazuya, Vegito would immediately begin ducking down as he would rapidly stretch his legs out, before stopping briefly and letting out with a smile. But having said that, if this devil gene is something powerful, by all means, make sure you don't hold back, demon. With that said, the Mishima would spontaneously begin generating even more electricity all around his body, almost as if it were inherently linked to his own excitement, as he would reply, unfolding his arms. A challenger like you would have been perfect for the King of Iron Fist. So be it. I will show you the true power of the devil. And just like that, like the two pointed-haired warriors were twins, both Kazuya and Vegito would get into fighting stance, both as excited as each other, as Vegito would let out, "The devil, huh? I thought I still had a little ways to go before I met him. Whatever you say though, friend." As Kazuya would respond, "You'll see what I mean soon enough." In an instant, appearing right in front of each other, both putting their all with gritted teeth, Kazuya and Vegito would step hard on the ground, in perfect synchronicity,
with their aura-encased fists flinging fast and hard at one another, reaching only mere millimeters from each other before a punch would be heard and seen, but curiously, the one affected would be neither Kazuya nor Vegito, and instead a mysterious blue-skinned monster, its face completely caved in, as if it had indeed been hit by one of the two, already unconscious in the eyes on impact as well. But as the demonic creature would be flung far into the sky above, the figure which had launched the attack would look similar, but would not be Vegito. Too easy! As we would then be graced with the sight of none other than King Vegeta, in base form, and with his fists still smoking from his earlier attack, having been sent here on Bulma's orders to help protect Universe 7. As the king would remark, "This is the 6th planet now in a row, and not a challenge among these types. It was more fun with my son after all." The Baldy! What's wrong? But just as the king would get comfortable, he would quickly remember just who he came with as a pair. As immediately looking around, there he is! He would quickly spot Tien Shinhan down on the ground. I'll have this then! But the three-eyed earthling would not be alone, as grabbing his arm tightly and with force, a beastly demon with a wide grin would be overpowering him. You've got 3 seconds to let go before I show you the power of the Crane School! You hear me? Leaving an angered Tien to utter out threats in vain. And though Tien would foreshadow a comeback on behalf of his old martial arts school, as the Earthling would fall to his knees further, ducking his head down, the skeleton face-like demon would only cockily continue to smirk, as the noseless creature would then say, 3 seconds. I don't know how time moves for you mortals, but I'd say that's gone by now. Guess you've given up hope on that pipe dream of yours. No worries, I can send you into another one now. A dream that will last an eternity. But as the demon would ready a deadly finishing blow on Tien, from behind, grabbing his neck tightly, would be a lone gloved hand. You! Let go, you pest! Where is Goro? Is that fool slacking off even now? With the demon looking behind to see King Vegeta, and bizarrely, completely surprised to see the king still not engaged in battle. But the Royal Saiyan, looking back within the shadows, would just respond, Goro? Is that what my last victim's name was? Well, I can assure you, he's not slacking off, and you can be sent to where he is to verify. As just immediately, like tossing a ball into the air, the demon would then be completely manhandled and tossed far into the sky above, shooting up like a rocket.
What is this? Wait! Don't do it! Don't do it!
But even as his body would forcefully be moved higher and higher, unable to control himself, as he would look down, it would seem he would anticipate a far worse fate to come. And as if the demon was Nostradamus himself, only moments later, King Vegeta from below would blast upwards a powerful seam of energy from his left arm alone. And from a bird's eye view, despite being in base, its sheer size and power would be evident. Even from below, it would begin to dwarf the creature, as it would come closer and closer until... finally completely enveloped and lost in the light, the last powerful demonic invader of the planet would be eviscerated.
I'm feeling younger by the day fighting like this.
As the now giggling king would just stare upwards as the ashes and burnt remains of the demon would fall to the ground. All while he would marvel at his own power, commenting,
there was a time a demon king would give me trouble. But at this point, I doubt even the so-called emperors would do much to me.
But finally finishing, he would then extend his hand down to Tien, saying,
got in a bit of trouble there, huh? Here, you could use a hand. Back off! I don't need anyone's help, least of all a Saiyan's. I already told you, I'll never trust you guys.
But the three-eyed earthling, still harboring distaste for the same Saiyans who once were responsible for his death, would just grunt back and opt to get up all by himself.
As you wish.
But the king, markedly unbothered, would just fold his arms and smirk, saying back,
even better. Now at least, I won't need to babysit you for the next planet. You seem to have plenty of energy left in the tank. Bravo, Earthling! Now let's go.
But before any more could be said, the king would be preoccupied by a sudden sensing of a fast-moving energy. His body frozen momentarily before... move! On natural instinct, the king would immediately push Tien away, as if saving one of his own men. And for good reason, as in a literal flash, an inexplicable bolt of black lightning would then crash from the sky onto the ground between them. Both luckily surviving and jumping back due to the efforts of the king.
What was that? Wait, did he just save me? Looks like this planet isn't done with us yet after all.
As the two warriors sent from Earth would then look to the sky, but with two very different reactions.
What is going on?
As once we would get a better view from further out, the extent of the now sudden explosion of black thunder and lightning all over the surface of the planet cracking down would be compounded by the mysterious presence of a single black portal opening up. As Tien, whose face would now begin to go blue from fear, would just utter out,
This never happened before! I know this feeling. This is the feeling of the end.
But King Vegeta, just clenching his fists in stance, would conversely say,
all I smell is your fear, Three Eyes. Get it together. I'll deal with whatever comes here, even if you can't. By my honor as a Saiyan, you can believe that!
As in a completely unexpected arrival, out of the portal would arrive a demon we had all seen before. The royal demon god of Lucif himself, the current Omni King, as adorned in the same black armor that was splashed with Zeno's blood as he was murdered. The Omni King killer would just slowly levitate out of the portal, not uttering a word, as his presence alone would say 1,000 words. Who is that? That can't be a mortal. A god? Leaving the weak Tien to just stare in disbelief, his words struggling to even come out, as his body would involuntarily tremble. As even the Royal Saiyan with widened eyes would also realize what had just arrived, as he would let out,
this is no god, boy, but have it right. Make one wrong move with this guy, and we'll both definitely be seeing one. Stay on guard!
But as the new Omni King's guard would begin looking around with his stoic face in a gruff tone, he would let out,
so, this is where Lord Lucif commanded me to come. 2 targets, and I believe I have found them already. Your wish shall be granted, my lord.
And as expected, the first to fly up and greet him would be the Saiyan himself, King Vegeta, who after flying up would let out with more than a tense face.
I can tell, Scouter or not, that you are unlike any of the demons I've faced before, even beyond Tizer and his old man, a cut above. And so I wonder why you would even come here. Confused me with my son, perhaps? No.
But almost as if he could reply with only actions and not words, his response would begin swiftly with bringing his palm forward, faced at the king, and within it, a pure black concoction of energy, unlike any seen before. As the demon god would simply respond,
I have come for the right 2 mortals. But rest assured, he will be joining you soon enough.
As just like that, the Royal Guard would then blast his energy towards the Royal Saiyan. But curiously, with his arms still folded, and barely a look of concern on his countenance, the king wouldn't flinch at all. His body immediately beginning to vanish just as the beam would approach him. And as expected, appearing elsewhere, far off in the distance, and most importantly, away from danger, King Vegeta would resurface, his face grinning now as he would begin to think,
maybe I gave this insect too much credit. No demon since the one I faced with Vegeta has been any match for me. Why should I begin to fear one now? That damn Baldy's cowardice must be spreading to me. Not anymore. Wait!
But just as the king would become resolute in having more faith in himself and less in the royal guard, all confidence would mysteriously be shattered, as behind the king now, only darkness would be seen.
How did he get there?
As in a shock showcase of dominance, unexpectedly, the black armored guard would be back to back with the king. His giant oversized stature made all the more clear, as with his body remaining still, King Vegeta's would now finally begin to resemble Tien's, trembling in the spot as he would mumble,
"You aren't the same! Tell me, what are you? Huh?"
But before that could be answered, once again, for the royal guard, actions would speak louder. As just as the king would turn his head, the guard would already have his arm fully swing back until... As with a brutal swipe, the very next thing the king would feel would be a tremendous swipe across the back of his skull, sending him visibly in pain, soaring down, and eventually colliding with full force towards a nearby mountain, spreading dust and debris everywhere on impact.
Old man!
But in a twist, Tien, on seeing this, would put his disdain for the Saiyans on hold, as in a genuine show of concern, he would immediately yell out as soon as the king would come into danger. But though there would be a brief moment of silence from the wreckage to begin with...
Fine! No more games for your kind! Witness the true power of a king, demon!
It would only take seconds before exploding out of the rubble, now in his full power Super Saiyan 4 God form, King Vegeta would finally showcase just what made him a legendary figure in the VE timeline to begin with. And with such speed, it would seem even the emotionless royal guard would not have time to react. His first punch would land beautifully, perfectly on the temple of his metal head guard. But though the impact sound would be loud, the guard's physical reaction on hit would not quite be there.
What? Why didn't he move?
And it wouldn't take the king long to realize as well that though he had made contact, even in his powered up state, the guard would be tanking his hit as if he were a mere fly.
How dare you mock me! Die!
But in his Saiyan anger, fear would not overcome him, but instead rage, as now launching a continuous barrage of attacks from all directions, the elder Vegeta would not be ready to throw in the towel at all. All the while, Lucif's guard would stand alone, stone cold, still on each hit like a perfectly formed statue.
No!
But such an attack with no reply would not last forever, and with extreme speed and authority, like he could have done this at the very start, the guard would swiftly grab the king right by the throat, like he were an insolent child.
This strength Why does it feel like this? You and my son cannot meet.
And as the king would be lifted higher and higher, and all his attacks stunted, as he would begin to lose consciousness, closing in his eyes, he would add,
"Stay away from Vegeta!" Stay away, you poor fool.
But surprisingly showing a sadistic grin. Now, as he would hold his prey in his hands, he would continue.
Unfortunately, your son will be receiving a visit soon after this. He will join you in the same fate.
But unbelievably, in complete defiance, even on hearing this, the king would just laugh, as he would let out,
"I meant you two should never meet for your sake. You're dead meat once my son finds out what you did. Now hurry up and kill me!"
As in one final loud crack, the royal guard would close his grasp abruptly, delivering the king's wish and killing him instantly. As now back to base and just a lifeless body, the head of the now dead king would tilt to the left without a word or groan more. And the royal guard, now no longer smiling, would stare forward and say alone,
"I will tell him exactly what I have done. Don't you worry, mortal. We shall see if your son will live up to his name."
As in a final scene, Black Thunder would roar behind the two, as if a foreshadowing of Vegeta's future rage. But out of nowhere, the somber scene would be interrupted, as the royal guard would find himself hunched over, surrounded in a yellow blast of energy, forcing him to let go of King Vegeta, immediately leading to the king falling to the ground with a thud. "Over here!" As high in the sky, the cause would be revealed in the form of Tien Shinhan, with his hand in his signature triangular position and having more than likely just fired off his tri-beam cannon.
The other one? Really?
As even the Demon Lord looking up would be surprised to see the Earthling make his move, and so effectively at that.
You killed him! You'll pay for that!
As in a complete 180, the true feelings of Tien would become clear, as now seeing the king he apparently would never trust, now dead, he would erupt within him a previously unseen rage, as with his body covered in veins and his eyes full of fury, Tien would take aim once more and yell, "Stay down! Tri-beam cannon!" But as the attack would continue to blast on with even more intensity, almost in slow motion, Lucif's guard would begin turning his head cautiously to pinpoint the Earthling's location before... in one tragic but brutal scene, in truly just a flash, the overwhelming speed and strength of the demon chosen to be the Omni King's guard would be on full show,
storming the distance before simply slashing the skull clean off Tien's torso, sending the now lifeless body of the martial artist to fall to the ground along with his decapitated head. And as the body would now be seen flattened across the ground as blood would leak out, Tien Shinhan would be confirmed dead. It wouldn't be long for the royal guard's feet to then land beside the pupilless face of Tien to come collect his trophy hunt. Indeed, reaching down like collecting a pebble off the floor, the demon's clawed hand would grip onto Tien's skull, before the guard would then look into his eyes and say, "Brittle, fragile mortals, your will has been granted, Lord Lucifer. 2 more to add to the list." Before on cue, right behind the guard, the black portal from which he first entered would come back into sight. And with a nonchalant toss, Tien's head would be thrown straight behind towards it, entering swiftly through until being grabbed abruptly by yet another demonic-looking grasp.
Excellent, Dante!
As revealed in a dark area hidden amongst the shadows, the ominous presence of Lucifer himself would be there to grab onto the dead Earthling's remains, staring at it with true pleasure, as not only would he reveal the first guard's name, but would then add,
2 more of the God Killer's loved ones, gone forever! Oh, I cannot wait for him to see. Keep fighting, little God Killer. Make your way out and see what you have allowed me to do!
And as Lucifer would say this, our story would turn back to a now tired and base Vegito, fresh off having just been battling Kazuya. But true to form, rising back up with a smile, Vegito would then say, "Not bad! Not bad at all, Mr. Mishima! You may have been onto something with this devil gene of yours." As his opponent, the Demon Emperor of Sector 2, would remain looking remarkably unfazed. Clean cut, still in his suit, with his arms folded, as he would respond, "You haven't seen anything yet, you damn dog." Maybe that's true. Leaving Vegito to then slowly close his eyes before, "But that goes the same for you, demon." As just like that, things would take a turn up several gears, as Vegito's Green Seraphim, the original, would activate finally once more. But just giggling away, the suited Emperor would then proceed to take off his jacket, commenting as he would do so, "Finally, the canine has shown its fangs. Time to put you on a leash! Yeah!" As showing his lust for battle once again, Kazuya would then rush forward instantly, moving with insane speed, but a strange up and down movement in a straight line, all while Vegito would accept it with open arms. "Just come and try, old man! Dunia!" and with a rapid electric uppercut, his legendary electric wind god fist, Kazuya would make immediate impact, but only for the God Killer to make use of his all-new blood demon techniques, immediately exploding into a tidal wave of dark red blood. Kenji's technique. But as Kazuya would become coated, his white shirt being ruined in the process, he would not seem unfamiliar at all. What? That is, until Vegito would add his own flair to the mix, reassembling instantly from the puddles of blood on the floor until... Too easy, demon! Now completely reformed, Vegito would reappear right under the uppercut as if he had dunked it, and already be in perfect position to slam his own fist right through the body of Kazuya. But in an unexpected moment, just as he would punch, a truly gruesome looking appendage would get in his way, blocking him immediately, an appendage that could only be described as some kind of wing. What the? And as Vegito would slowly pull back his arm in front of him, this oversized wing would now be completely covering Kazuya. What an unruly dog. Perhaps you need putting down instead. As in a shock reveal, when Kazuya would move his wings aside, his eyes would now display dual red seraphims, and with a black outer layer too, just like Vegito's final form, and apparently the devil's as well. Finally, the challenger I have seeked. Say hello to the one who sat at the throne before even Lucifer, the true devil! What? The true devil? As suddenly unleashing an ominous aura that stops Vegito in his tracks, Kazuya Mishima would unleash both of his demonic wings, and behind him, a monstrous creature representing what was still to come from the legendary warrior. Next chapter, all will be revealed. But that was it for today's video, guys, and if you made it this far, leave me a hashtag Kazuya in the comments down below, and let me know just what Vegito will do once Kazuya shows his final form. Or just find out right now on my Patreon, where you can see the full next video, fully voice acted, soundtracked and edited for you to enjoy with over 4,700 other fans, as well as getting access to 250 plus other fan mangas too. It's the deal of the century.